everyone. Today we're going to discuss a very classic Buddhist story called The Greedy Man Who Courted Disaster. You may have heard many stories about cause and effect karma, but today's is quite different. Why? Because we're not just going to tell the story, we're going to delve into the true meaning behind it, guided by a wise master's interpretation. We will explore whether our destiny is truly predetermined, or if we actually have a chance to change it. This is a profound topic, so let's explore it together. First, I want to ask you a question. Imagine one day you suddenly win the lottery or inherit a huge fortune. In short, unexpected wealth drops from the sky. Would your first feeling be, wow, how lucky? Or would you feel a bit uneasy, wondering if this might be some kind of test? This question is exactly the situation that our main character in today's story faced in real life. Let's meet our protagonist, an elder named Yin Yu. Elder Yin Yu could be called a winner in life. He was extremely wealthy. With countless possessions, he had everything. However, as is common, people always have worries. His one regret was that, though he was getting on in years, he had no son. And then, guess what? One day, his life suddenly took a 180-degree turn, and in a good direction. This is truly no joke. It's hard to imagine that feeling. It wasn't just one good thing. It was four super joyous events that happened simultaneously. Let's count them. His long-desired son was born. His most prized mare gave birth to several divine steeds. The king suddenly took great notice of him, granted him an official position, and bestowed a gold seal. His merchant fleet, sent out to seek treasure, returned fully laden, making him a fortune. My goodness, his blessings were practically overflowing. His life instantly shot to its highest point. Naturally, with so many good things happening, a big celebration was in order. Right, just as Elder Yin Yu and his entire family were overjoyed, a guest, arguably the most esteemed and special guest, came calling. Who was it? It was the Buddha himself. Wow, the Buddha visits in person. But the Buddha didn't just come to offer congratulations. He also delivered what could be called a crucial warning. The Buddha recited a verse to him, the meaning of which was roughly, you sow in spring and reap in autumn. The great fortune you enjoy today is because you accumulated much merit through good deeds in past lives. This was truly wonderful to hear. Elder Yin Yu was, of course, both happy and grateful. He immediately presented the Buddha with his most precious rock, worth 10 million gold pieces. However, the Buddha then spoke the true purpose of his visit. He reminded Elder Yin Yu, and he is reminding every one of us, that no matter how much wealth you possess, that money is constantly facing 5 great dangers. These 5 dangers could instantly wipe out everything you've painstakingly accumulated. This concept is called the wealth shared by 5 households in Buddhism. What are the 5 households? They are, as mentioned, great fire, great flood, thieves, unfilial children, and the king, government officials. Isn't that a fascinating idea? It means that the money in your pocket is never entirely yours. It's essentially owned by you and these 5 households. You are just a temporary custodian. They can take it away at any moment. This highlights a core concept, impermanence. Now, the story's atmosphere begins to shift. As the Buddha was giving this wise reminder, another person heard about this event, but he saw absolutely nothing of profound life wisdom. In his eyes, there was only one thing, profit and opportunity. Who was this person? His name was Pulan Zhai, an Outer Path practitioner, non-Buddhist at the time. When he heard that the Buddha received such a valuable rock merely by reciting a verse, his envy and greed immediately surged. All he could think was, I want that too. I must go and recite that verse. I must get the same reward. So he went to the Buddha and demanded the verse. The Buddha, being compassionate, advised him against it, saying the time is not right. If you recite this verse now, not only will you gain no benefit, but you will suffer a great disaster. Do you think he listened? Of course not. His mind was blinded by greed. He spent the whole year laboriously memorizing the verse. Then, excitedly, he rushed to Elder Yinyu's house. He had no idea how much had changed during that year. His stubborn decision had, in effect, personally written the script for his own tragedy. The scene shifts. Pulan Ji finally arrived at Elder Yinyu's door. He cleared his throat and loudly recited the entire auspicious verse. Elder, your fortune today is truly great. All your joyous events have arrived simultaneously. He imagined the elder rushing out to shower him with wealth and praise. But what he received was not a reward. It was the elder Yinyu's overwhelming fury. The elder was furious, shouting at him, "How dare you say that? No one in the world is more unlucky than I am." What had happened? How could this be? Because in that year, the elder's world had been completely turned upside down. The 4 great joys had all been reversed into 4 great calamities. His house caught fire, burning down his mansion and all the divine steeds. His most beloved son suddenly fell ill and died. The king, listening to slander, revoked his official position and took back the gold seal. Finally, his treasure fleet, returning fully loaded, encountered a storm on the way back and all ships sank. You see, the 5 dangers foretold by the Buddha had almost all come true. So, at this moment, Pulan Ji rushing in and reciting that auspicious verse, can you imagine that to the elder? It sounded like the most cynical and stinging insult in the world. The result, as you might expect, was that Pulan Ji was seized and severely beaten. Hearing the story up to this point, you might wonder why these 2 people, one who became complacent with success, and the other who was greedy and foolish, had their destinies so intertwined. What was truly going on? The Buddha then revealed the deeper past life connection behind this conflict. It turns out that in a life long ago, the current elder Yinyu was a king. The king had a parrot whose singing was very melodious, and the king loved to listen to it. At that time, the current Pulan Ji was a vulture. This vulture became very jealous of the parrot. The vulture tried to mimic the parrot's singing to please the king. However, as you know, its call was terrible, scaring the king half to death. The king, in a rage, ordered the vulture to be captured and all its feathers plucked out. The vulture, however, did not think it was its terrible voice that caused the trouble. Instead, it blamed all its misfortune on the parrot. Do you see how familiar this pattern is? It's the same as the present life. Pulan Ji was beaten, but he didn't reflect on his own greed and foolishness. Instead, he turned around and blamed the Buddha, claiming the verse he taught was flawed. This pattern of arising from jealousy and then blaming others repeated once again. The story itself is finished, but our true focus is just beginning. All of the preceding narrative was just the setup. Now, we will hear how a wise master analyzed this story. His interpretation completely pinpointed the most crucial and worthwhile lesson hidden in the entire event. The master highlighted a very important point. He asked, "Think about it. What kind of sage is the Buddha? Would he have gone there just for that rock? Of course not. The Buddha, with his wisdom, had already foreseen the great disaster approaching Elder Yinyu. So, his visit and his discussion of the 5 dangers were actually giving the elder an opportunity, a lifesaver. He was hinting to the elder that his wealth was going to be lost anyway. Rather than waiting for the disaster to take it away, it would be better to actively give it away through generosity DNA now. This way, the material goods that were inevitably going to be lost could be transformed into infinite merit and blessings for the future. Doesn't that completely flip our initial understanding? This leads to the master's next. Even more shocking viewpoint. We commonly hear that cause and effect are inevitable. What is owed must be paid, as if once you create a karma, you must endure the consequence. Right. But the master directly asked, can suffering truly not be averted? Must debts really be paid? His answer was, not necessarily. Why not? The master explained that so-called karmic force is not a fixed slab of iron. Destiny can be changed, but there is a prerequisite. And that is you must accomplish 3 things. You must have absolute faith in the Buddha. You must truly understand the wisdom the Buddha teaches comprehension of the Dharma. And most importantly, you must truly act according to the Buddha's teachings practice of the path. Let's look back at Pu Lan Zhai. He is the perfect negative example. Did the Buddha give him a choice? Yes, the Buddha told him, I will teach you a new verse, one more suitable for this time. But look at him. Did he have faith? No. Did he understand? No. Did he follow the advice? Absolutely not. He chose to be bound by his own greed and delusion. That is why his suffering became his fixed karma, definite fate. The master's teachings make us understand something. What is fixed karma? What is an inescapable destiny? It is when we choose to be hijacked by our own afflictions. When the cause planted in the past meets our present conditions of greed, hatred, ignorance, pride, and doubt. When these 2 combine, the negative consequence becomes unavoidable. Let's look back at Elder Yin Yu. His situation is the most regrettable. Think about it. His wealth was going to be lost regardless that was his past karma cause. But he had 2 choices before him. One was to be passively robbed by disaster, leaving only pain and sorrow. The other was to actively give it away through generosity. Superficially, he would still lose it. But in reality, he would transform the disaster into immeasurable future blessings. Sadly, due to a lack of sufficient faith and deep understanding, he missed this golden opportunity to turn his fate around. Therefore, from this story, especially through the master's analysis, we are left with a very profound question. This is the question for every one of us. When facing the ups or downs in our lives brought about by past karma, are we only able to passively accept and drift with the current? Or do we actually hold the steering wheel, able to choose to change our course? The answer given by this story is very clear. The cause from the past determines our starting point. But only our present choices and every single thought hold the power to truly create our future.